At Your End Step is brought to you by Comic Town and BCW Supplies. Hello, and welcome to At Your End Step. My name is Morgan, and I'm here with Mike.
Hello.
And Dave.
Hey.
And we have another fun-filled episode for you folks this week. Mike and I just recently got back from Gen Con.
I'm sorry we're terrible liars. We really wanted to do like...
Well, we did, you know, we were blowing up to Twitter, trying to, you know, give the Gen Con feel to the people out there, and really tried to do our best with that. But we did not record a special episode, unfortunately.
Yeah,
and I'm very sorry.
It was just like, we're tired.
It's so tiring going there. It is it was the 50th anniversary. It was sort of a once in a lifetime thing, and when they say 70,000 people, 60 something thousand people, like you can feel it.
Yeah, it's very. They're there. They were all there.
They were most certainly there. But Gen Con was amazing. We'll talk a little bit more about it here in the community segment. But we have a few more Ixalan cards to talk about and some tokens actually. And then we have a new methodology of getting to be able to see some more Ixalan cards that we want to talk about. So let's just dive right in. So first and foremost, let's talk about these promos and tokens. So the media page for WotC kind of updated and gave us some interesting new spoilers. These are the promos you can get for various things. So like buy box promo, I think, is one of them, and participation promo for like game day, not game day, but
yeah,
a draft weekend or something like that.
Not game day.
Not game day.
Yeah,
it's like
was it now? They changed it.
It's store championship, right?
Store championship.
Open house.
No, open house. Open house
that's
is
a different thing.
Yeah, that's before the set release.
Yeah. So let's get started talking about some of these cards. The first one that actually I have up is the Burning Suns Avatar, which is a dinosaur avatar.
You mean what's that? What's the stand-up arcade shooter game with dinosaurs? Is this Dino Crisis? No.
Dino Crisis is a survival horror game.
Whatever. There's
one. Turok.
No. It's an arcade cabinet game. It's kind of like Time Crisis.
Yeah.
But it definitely has like this is what's on the side of it.
We'll go with Dino Crisis.
It is a 3 generic and 3 red for a 6/6. And then when it comes into the battlefield, it deals 3 damage to a creature and 3 damage to a player or an opponent. I think it's to an opponent. Yeah,
an opponent. Yeah. So Searing Blades on a stick.
Yep. I guess it's not to like that creature and that creature's controller. It's 2 separate instances of targeting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can target in multiplayer games. This is relevant because you can target a creature and then a different player. Technically, I guess.
Yeah.
It's not super relevant for constructed, but
I think this card. I know, like, we don't know what the format looks like. This card seems deceptively powerful. Plus, Panharmonicon still standard. This card.
Oh, stop it! Stop it, you.
Shoot 2 creatures, shoot you for 6.
No, it's great. I'm not saying it's
right.
bad.
Like,
I'm just saying.
I'm gonna play it with Deserts, Panharmonicon, and Sand Strangler, and all my creatures are gonna just be like just shooting things.
Just all the Kavus.
Just shooting things for 3. You can shake your head all you want, Dave. I'm pretty sure the last time I said I was going to play Panharmonicon, you shook your head, and I top 4'd the open. So give Panharmonicon its due. You play that big piano, okay? The sweetest music.
But yeah, it's a big fatty. It's a 6-mana 6/6, which is fine. 6/6
triple red's a little tough.
Triple red is the hard part, but I mean, it ain't too bad, and it's just a rare, so not it's not going to be ridiculous or anything like that. So that's good to see.
I mean, if you're looking at it for like constructed applications, it's like what kind of deck actually wants this though? Like the red decks right now are low to the ground, and they go up to Glorybringer, but are they going to want to go up to 6? I don't know.
But to be fair, like this rotation is going to be big.
Yeah. But
going to be big. It's pretty funny because this is like a card that, much like Glorybringer, can hurt like a Gideon pretty good. So it'll be interesting. And I mean, this is I think this is the buy a box promo.
Yes.
So usually those are cards that are typically worth seeing play. Typically, not every time, but typically. So take that as what it is. But card's not bad. Next card though is awesome. Just for the sheer fact that the art on it is really really good. And it's Christopher Muller, I believe.
Yeah.
But this art is different than what we have been used to seeing in recent sets. It's very comic booky. It's very classic as well. Very kind of
I
old
almost say like
school.
pulpy. You know what I mean? Like,
yes, which is fine.
No, it's good. It's great.
It perfectly fits with like what the set's trying to do, being like, very swashbuckly and all that jazz. But it's called Walk the Plank. So very flavorful. It's black for sorcery, and it's destroy target non-merfolk creature. Now there are some obviously weird things with this. How you can kill like other seafaring creatures, which make no sense. Kill an octopus with it. Kill a fish with it. Kill a shark with it. Kill a jellyfish with it.
Are shark and fish different creature types anymore?
Probably not.
I don't know. I don't know if fish is a creature type, to be quite honest.
I mean, if there are definitely sharks, so yes.
Let
it
me
has to be.
look that up real quick.
okay.
You guys can keep going.
Misform Ultimus watch.
But you can't kill Merfolk with it. So the sorcery speed definitely keeps this from like really being too busted for like modern or anything like that. But it'll be a standard role player.
You compared it before the cast to Victim of Night, and I think it is pretty close. I mean, Victim of Night was like a fine card, but in its format, like
It wasn't good enough.
yeah.
Fish watch. What do you got?
Hammerhead shark is a fish.
Nice. All right. Perfect. And you can kill it by making it walk the plank. Figure that out.
We're going to see some busted flavor rulings with this card. Let me tell you.
Yep, for sure. But it's still a fairly non-conditional kill card. It's just the sheer fact that like we are going to get Merfolk, like that's a known quantity. Because we have this card, this would be pretty nonsensical for this card to be in the set without there being Merfolk in the set. But there aren't Merfolk that we have from any other set in there. And the other creature types are obviously going to be like humans and dinosaurs, vampires. So like this is still more versatile than Victim of Night would have likely have been anyway. Since it only hits one, it's probably still safe to say that this is going to be show up a lot stronger in the standard format. In the set, unless Merfolk is just like the tribe to beat, and then you're like, oh well, that's sad.
I think it's just going to be fun to see how many different like kinds of creatures you can make walk the plank. Like we're talking about the dinosaur avatar, it's like just like poking him with a stick until he falls off. Oh, no.
So what is this where you start like you just have like a very specific pen that you added creatures to like on this date?
Yeah.
Oh man, it's really good.
But yeah, just solid removal spell, full art promo for the store championship, I believe. So definitely a cool card, and it looks like to be an uncommon. So you'll be able to open up this in packs on a pretty regular frequenly. So frequency.
The art probably won't be as cool.
Will not be as cool, unfortunately.
Almost guaranteed.
Yeah.
But
so next up we have Unclaimed Territory, and this is a land.
This card's incredibly good.
It's
it's
fixed
really,
Cavernous Souls.
Yeah, so it's you can tap it. It enters the battlefield. When it enters the battlefield, name a creature type, and then you can tap it for colorless. For colorless specifically, and then you can tap it for any color as long and you have to cast a creature type of the chosen type with it.
This card is just incredibly good, right? Like,
yeah, I mean,
I'm so used to this kind of. I mean, yeah, but I'm just so used to a card like this having such like a drawback. Like, oh no, you come into play untapped and add colorless.
Yep, and can also
like
just randomly like fix your mana.
Yeah. I mean, it'll depend. Like, we don't really have. Besides zombies, like zombies is tribal. But like, I don't know if this is super relevant. Just as of yet, it'll be interesting if we have like obviously because like zombies being mono black, they're not really interested in this card. Like swamp is just like fine,
right?
But
and who's to even say that zombies even like survives rotation to some degree anyway?
Well, what I'm saying is like this seems to be interesting to me because we haven't seen like. Is this going to be like multicolored tribes? And that'll be important if it is.
I believe so. So like we obviously like our next card is a little bit different than what we're typically seeing. So we can talk about that now. But it's a white vampire, which is not something that we've seen quite often. So assumedly we are getting both white and black vampires. But this card actually helps a lot in black white zombies. So maybe mono black zombies doesn't exist post rotation, but black white zombies does.
It's interesting. Yeah, just based on the flavor of this card, Bishop of Rebirth, which is white, 3 generic for a 3/4 with Vigilance. Whenever it attacks, you may return target creature card with converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. So obviously powerful. 3/4 with Vigilance, like it's 5 mana seems like a lot, but that's actually surprisingly robust based on the removal that we've seen so far.
Yeah.
It can walk the plank, so deal with it. But
It certainly can.
But it does depict,
Everybody knows
it depicts like
vampires
a
can't swim.
religious zealot version of vampires, like talking about like this is how we prepare resurrection for the faithful, and I don't know, like it'll be interesting to see what that means, like for them.
So these are the vampires are, I believe, are flavored by conquistadors. That if you've seen some of the art, like they have very conquistador-esque armor and helmets specifically. So that's kind of what the vampire tribe here is supposed to be representing.
Making the conquistadors like white and possibly good guys. Bold choice, Watsy. Bold. You might wanna
I don't know. I don't know if they're bad guys. I don't know if they are good guys.
I understand. Like, maybe like Dovin Bond turned them on to this whole idea of like making like white colored and like blue colored like real bad guys. I don't know, but like I'm just saying, like put them in white, make them seem like the good guys, make them look like conquistadors. Make some good choices.
But this is like a very it's sort of reminiscent of Sun Titan. Not as powerful, obviously. But
Yeah.
nothing should really be as powerful as Sun Titan except for Sun Titan. we already have one of those cards. We don't need to make any more powerful ones.
This is the Sun Titan. The son of Sun Titan.
The Sun-
The S-O-N.
S-O-N.
The S-O-N Titan.
that's pretty good. That's a TM.
I don't think we're allowed to do that.
Probably
We
not.
took that class.
We
but-
did take that class. It's definitely not. What can we do? We can just put a copyright a C by it, and like we think we have a copyright on that.
I know we're gonna talk about Gen Con, but Morgan and I did take a class that was like a seminar. It was like the secrets of magic because we weren't sure if like Watsy was actually there or not. So we went. Wasn't Watsy, just a guy.
It was a man that was definitely involved in trademark
Yeah, he may have been a lawyer.
arbitrations. A lawyer of some persuasion.
We did
more
learn
than
some cool
likely.
things from him. We heard a really cool story about how apparently Coke will sue you. So,
Coke can sue you.
so if you apparently don't pay attention to your brand, like your actual name, like you can like have issues with it. That's why like Band-Aid brand is Band-Aid brand.
And that's why like everything is called an escalator, even though Escalator is an actual company.
Yeah, because they messed up and like lost it.
They didn't enforce it.
So if you go to a restaurant and you say, like, "Can I have a Coke?" and they say, "Is Pepsi okay?" All right, that's fine. But if they don't say anything, but they bring you a Pepsi, they send like agents out into the wild to be like, "This is a cease and desist.
Yeah, they can
You're
give you a
passing
cease-
off Pepsi as Coke."
Yeah.
Now I just want like Morgan said it was like the vegan police.
It's
So
a
good.
vegan police.
I just
yep.
kind of like I want to purposely get caught by the Coke police just so I can be like, it's like the Men in Black.
Now,
They're
do
here.
the Coke please like raid the restaurant in that case? Like they come down from the ceiling. like-
They're just like breaking like your bags of Coke and syrup, and they're just like ripping them open.
They're going through all the glass Pepsi glasses you have with a little hammer and just like. Tss, tss.
And now that'll make you think next time you try to pass off Pepsi as Coke. But to move back to Magic,
yeah, what were we talking about again?
Sorry, it was just,
it was
worked.
good. It was
worked.
great. It was actually, you know what? You got a free pack of Magic. You got a free pack of Hour Devastation, and you learned a lot of stuff. And it was only an hour, so
Yeah,
whatever.
it was,
I guess.
well, it was supposed to be longer, but you know,
sometimes Gen Con gets a little overbooked. But we also have what the F&M tokens are actually going to look like as well. This was something that's also kind of got potentially released a little bit early from Wizards media site. But we have some sweet ones. There are obviously double-sided, and one of the sides is always going to be a treasure token. So that is the new gold tokens.
Yeah,
Are they
It's more than gold now. That could be anything.
Are they functionally different? Not functionally different, but like does gold tap?
I don't think gold taps.
Gotcha.
Treasure has to tap a sacrifice. So I guess if this is Stony Sounds in play, you
can't.
you can't cash into treasure.
Yeah,
the bank's
that's the
closed, I
difference.
guess. Or
Okay.
whatever.
that's the difference. Tapping is the difference.
Because you got to open the chest, right? That's what it is.
Yeah,
That's the actual
You
action.
gotta turn it sideways.
Da-na-na-na.
Yeah, correct. But the other sides are going to be a green dinosaur that's a 3/3 with trample, a white vampire that's a 1/1 with lifelink, and a black pirate that's a 2/2 with menace.
That pirate art is unreal, by the way.
That's pretty good.
That's a good pirate.
That's a solid pirate right there.
Why is he wearing like a pulley?
I don't know, man.
Because he's got to like go, something galley poop
He
deck.
just like
swap.
carries around like an extra pulley just in case one of them breaks. He's like, nah, I got it right here, guys. We're good.
Maybe he's got to keep. I mean, they don't. You got to keep his pants up somehow.
They don't have belts on Ixalan.
No, man. Everything is a complicated
Like
pulley
the
system.
conquistadors show up with belts. They're like, what is this leather strap?
He's just trying to figure out. He's just trying to figure out suspenders, and he's only got halfway there.
So if planes follow like the multiverse theory, then yeah, at least one of the planes has to be like Ixalan but without belts. Like that's right. Like every possible scenario exists. So it's like it's exactly the same as Ixalan, but like they never figured out belts for some reason.
They never did belts. We obviously know the conquistadors do have belts though, because the vampire token definitely has a belt on. So they done figured it out.
That's
Dinosaur,
what I'm saying. Like,
dinosaur, no
that's
belt.
why I'm saying the conquistadors have
Dinosaurs have a
to. The
belt.
conquistadors have to introduce.
I want you to
belts.
know he's killing a conquistador.
He certainly
he's
is.
like, I hate your belt.
No belts here.
You shall not bring the scourge of belt.
First rule of Ixalan, no belts. Second rule of Ixalan, also no belts. Only pulleys.
They gotta keep the pulley industry like keep going strong.
Oh man, the pulley industry's known about belts for years, but they're just
just-
like, no, we can't.
It's
like, couldn't we just make our own belts? You're fired.
It's all about simple machines, man. It's all pulleys and inclined planes,
Levers.
levers.
Hey, I opened up the treasure chest with my hands. You didn't use our lever?
You didn't use the lever.
No? Just shoots him. Because he's just dead. Oh, man. We have a lot to get through, guys. All right, next one. Hey, Mike and Morgan attended Gen Con last week, and according
we
to this,
did.
according to this here. Oh, no, we want to talk about geocaching next, don't we?
Oh yeah, we do.
Oh yeah, I didn't know what that was, so they had to explain it. to
Oh, it
me.
was a beautiful Dave moment. So, you guys, what's geocaching? Oh, man. Hashtag millennials. So, Morgan continues to look at his phone because that's what's... we're
He's
doing
looking
now.
up geocaching because he doesn't know what it is.
I know what it is.
So, geocaching...
Lame. That's what it is.
Whoa, wah, wah, wah. Okay, so geocaching essentially focuses on this concept of like people working together to like in this case we're going to hide the secret item from wizards, and then we're going to try and have people find it, because geocaching is all about using coordinates and hints to go and find that information. It's honestly fairly popular as like ARGs, like an alternate reality game, and it's sort of the starting behind things like even like I'll mention like Pokemon Go is like setting up stops and going to them and traveling to these things. So for Magic, they want to use these tokens for Ixalan and then give them out to people, and then people will then hide them and use geocaching to find them, and then keep pushing them further. And ostensibly, the further away these tokens get from where they started, then the happier Watts would be, and the more information they're going to give us. So the idea is that like if Ixalan is about like adventure, like it's the adventure plane, and you're doing all these things, and I guess it's like adventure like Zendikar, but sort of similar. But then this is going to help with that. Supposedly, if this is done well enough, it can affect the storyline of Ixalan. That's what they said, but I don't know what that actually means. But that is what was said, is that they could literally hear. So
That's interesting. I haven't heard that.
but they have a map, like, so total trackable miles logged to date is already 18,000 miles.
Yeah, I think there's one currently out there in the wild. Maybe a few handful others, but there's still a form that's open as of today, which is the 23rd.
Closes in 2 days.
It does close in 2 days, but you can apply if you have a geocaching account. So you can blow the dust off of that account and log in with it, and you can receive one of these tokens, these caching items, and it's only 1,500 people, so you have to be selected. It's going to be random, I believe it says here on the website, and you have to go hide that, basically.
Yep.
I think as a cast, I think we should put in for At Your End Step.
I mean,
10 minutes ago, you didn't know what this was.
Hey, I'm all in now. Let's do it. Convinced me.
No, I'm good.
I probably
Good.
will. I'll do it. If we
Yeah.
get one, hey.
All right, Morgan will do it on our behalf.
I mean, we should all do it to increase our odds.
Maybe
and
we'll be
chances.
randomly selected.
But so this is a cool thing that they're doing. It's a little bit different, and they are like working in tandem with geocaching, .com. So this is like as legit as you could make geocaching, I guess. And it's weird that it could affect the story. I didn't hear about that part.
Yeah, that was. I'm trying to find where it was, because that was with the original announcement, but I don't know. Like, I have no idea what that actually means. So, I'll have to look up the specific thing for it because this is the geocaching website. But I think the WotC announcement had mentioned that.
Cool.
Either way, we get possible
Spoilers.
So it's a cool interactive way for it though. I never fault them for trying these different games and stuff for like this. I just want to see cards. I don't really care.
Honestly, so way back when we talked about, this is months ago now, when we talked about like the rare sheets that got spoiled from Ixalan, or like somebody obviously either stole or photographed something that they weren't supposed to.
Yeah.
This is the kind of stuff that ruins.
Oh, absolutely.
Because if if some of the cards that they're gonna like they were planning on previewing with this, like we've already seen, it kind of takes away from, I guess, the surprise.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, but I mean, honestly, I couldn't tell you what any of the cards do from the spoiler thing. So, I think I'll be surprised either way, personally.
Okay, so yeah, the upcoming Ixalan release is set in a world full of discovery of players and characters exploring a world and searching for, well, something. This is the article specifically. We'll get to that once previews are underway, but there is a way you can explore Ixalan by exploring our world. So the trackable game pieces, blah, blah, blah. As game pieces travel, the distances they travel will influence the release of preview cards and could actually influence how the story of Ixalan plays out. And that's the mothership. So it
Crazy.
does not say what that means. So they could literally tell you that you affected the way the story plays out, and it doesn't. If anybody remembers like Mirrored and Pure and how bad that hurt, because it still hurts. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So after we had Mirrored and Besieged, then we got New Phyrexia. Well, they had this sort of campaign where it was like, who's gonna win? Will we get New Phyrexia or Mirrored and Pure? The Mirrans were never gonna win. There was no way they were gonna win. Like, it's kind of actually looking back at what we've had with the Gatewatch recently, up until Hour of Devastation. Actually, it's kind of refreshing. It was a better time. But I remember seeing like they even had like mock-up artwork for Mirrored and Pure, and you were like, man, I love Koth. I hope he wins, and he didn't, and he hasn't been back since. Thanks, Mirrored and Pure.
Hashtag Kothwatch 2017.
I just miss him, you know? But yeah, so that's geocaching.
Cool.
I hope you all cash in.
Oh, look what you did.
Yeah. So how was Gen Con?
So Gen Con again, like we said, it was its 50th anniversary. It was huge. There was a lot more people than have ever been there.
Sold out,
I've seen
right?
Sold out completely, entirely. And it was crazy, but it was a lot of fun. I mean, if people aren't necessarily familiar with Gen Con or anything like that, it is a gaming convention. So Magic is there and has a strong presence. But there are literally, ballrooms filled with people playing tabletop RPGs. There's people just, sitting down and, playing new board games, demoing board games, or card games or what have you, that, really anything under the sun, gaming related, that is not like, like it's solid. You're not going to find like your solitaires or your pokers.
Yeah,
your
I think
euchres,
it's important to. Well, that's not true. Poker normally actually has a presence there. I played in poker tournaments at Gen Con before.
Gotcha. That's
they've
not that's not like the main draw.
No, but I think one thing to be sure is when you say gaming, it's while there's sometimes like there's rooms devoted to like video games, like this is board and tabletop games.
Yes.
Like even like Magic, like TCGs have a huge influence there. But like when WotC comes there, they come there for D&D.
Yes.
You know what I mean? They don't come there for Magic.
Yeah, this is their big thing. There were even like, popular D&D like actual play like podcasts and stuff like that were there.
Yes.
Like Critical Role was there, and
Critical Role had their, that was cool.
That was a huge deal. They released like the book that is like their world that they play in. So like you can actually have your own campaigns based in that world, which is pretty cool.
They had a concert there. Some really really tall guys.
Yeah, they might in fact be giants actually.
Just remember, I said that I lobbed that one too.
Yeah, it was good. It was solid. Yep, they last year they had I know Cards Against Humanity, that the people that make that typically have a very large presence, and that's how they get most of those things there.
Yeah, they don't normally use it for Cards Against Humanity though. Like they have their own like independent like game contests and stuff, and that's how a couple years ago I bought a game called Discount Salmon that was like one of their winners, and it's kind of cool that like they could have a bigger presence than they normally do. Like, but there they sort of like they go low key. You'll see that it's like from the makers of Cards Against Humanity, or from like it's kind of nice.
And I mean, So it is something that I think that if you are a gamer, if it is something that you enjoy, even if it's just Magic, even if Magic is like the only thing that you do, like go out of your comfort zone and actually go there and maybe try something different, try something new. You'd be surprised how many games exist and borrow from Magic in certain ways, and how good at games you can actually be just by playing Magic.
That's
which
true.
Which is really sort of an interesting thing to find out.
Cough, people playing Epic.
Yeah, I mean, like, if there's ever a time where you want to check out a different TCG, like, you can go there and check out all the other, different kinds of TCGs that exist, whether it be digital or in paper, or play a new one that they're launching at Gen Con.
I think the coolest thing about like that for Gen Con, especially like because there's so many people I know that I mentioned like, oh, I went to Gen Con, and these are people who like I know like are very shared in hobbies with me, and they're like, oh, what's that? It's like, what? Like, but then when you explain like, yeah, so any game you'd want to try, and maybe you're a person like, yeah, you play Magic, but you've always kind of been interested in like that miniature game, that one, you know what I mean, or like that really esoteric board game, or maybe you're like the kind of person who like really wants to go play like Catan a whole bunch, and no one will ever do it with you. Well, most of these games have like starter events you can do, so they'll just hand you product. You're like, hey, pay this. They'll hand you product and teach you how to do it, and you could spend the rest of your weekend just playing that game. It was a Mayfair like who does Catan. Like they literally had like their setup on like the Lucas Oil Stadium floor.
Correct.
Like, I think it's really funny. You could tell some people who'd be like, yeah, we played where Andrew Luck plays. And like, really? Yeah, we played Settlers of Catan. What's he play? Like football or something?
It's like the Catan of sports.
Yeah, and like one of the other cool things that I really enjoy about it. So like I've talked about it before in here, and I'm actually wearing a shirt for it right now. But I played the Harry Potter TCG on Saturday. I played the World Championships for Harry Potter. I went a resounding 1-3. So sometimes skill in one game doesn't carry over.
Can't hang with the pros.
Honestly, I tried to metagame a deck and got super punished. So
The old glass cannon approach.
no, just so I played I played what ostensibly could be a combo deck, but there's no sideboard in that game. So I sacrificed main deck space for creature removal, because I played against all creature decks last year and played against, not kidding, 3 in a row that are essentially mirror matches, but they just decided to go all into the combo because they weren't worried about it. So I just ended up like multiple matches in a row with like all these dead cards in my hand. So I managed to take one of those matches, but the other two, like they were just like doing what I did just a little bit faster. You know what I mean? It was really frustrating, but it was really fun. And there's a bunch of games like that. There's a podcast that there's the people working on there. They do that, and this couple, and that we might talk to them. We might cross promote here in a little bit. We talked, but they essentially played the professional level of the WoW TCG. Right, and they watched that game die. Like they traveled to all the events and whatever else, and they watched that game die. Well, there's a bunch of tournaments for that game there too. So they come to Gen Con so they can play dead games with people. And that alone is super cool. Like these game systems that you're like, we sat next to a group of people who are playing like the old Babylon 5 game, right? Like I gotta tell you, Babylon 5 hasn't been relevant in ever, right? But these people, like once a year, they get to come together and be like, yeah, now it's our time. So
That's cool.
Yeah, it really is.
I've tried some other card games in the past. Like I know, I don't know if you guys remember this one, like MLB Showdown.
Oh yeah,
it was like
that game
baseball,
was sweet looking.
The baseball like TCG. So I played that. There was a wrestling card game at one point.
Yes.
Like a WWE.
Yes.
It might have not even. It might have been WWF still back then. This was like early 2000s. But for the most part, like it's just been Magic for the last however many years.
Yeah.
So I don't have the time to really branch out anymore. But I think that'd be kind of cool to play some of the old games again. I've never actually been to Gen Con before. I'm thinking about possibly going next year. So maybe we can get an actual.
I don't know. I've gone a lot. Morgan, you've gone a lot. It's kind of boring now, right?
No, not at all. Never. Never.
I mean,
ever.
Just keep up for that troll.
Not even
Jeez.
gonna play a joke.
I mean, I have probably over the last couple of years have started getting more and more into board games. So I think like if I were to go, I probably wouldn't even play Magic. I would just play other games.
Yeah, I think that is actually like if you are someone that's curious about Gen Con, like that is a great way to honestly go into it. I mean, we're obviously a Magic podcast, but we're all big gamers in general, and I think that you can experience a lot of new things just by going to Gen Con and playing a bunch of different stuff. So I think that's a great way to go about it. But it was extremely fun, and it sold out this year, and who knows what it's going to do next year. I mean, gaming as a culture is only getting bigger and bigger, and the 50th obviously means a lot to people, so maybe that's the reason why it sold out, but maybe not. Maybe it sold out because it's just reached that that mass.
I went in 2005. It was the first time I went. And my wife and I, Katie, were talking about this, about how we went with a bunch of people from high school, and a buddy of ours borrowed his mom's Windstar van, and we brought a small TV in it and played Super Smash Brothers on the GameCube in the back seats while we were driving. And then we went there and we did a lot of cool things, and we ended up with airsoft pistols we bought on the show floor, and we shot each other in the hotel room, and I bust my lip doing that. And we ended up with all these cool things and seeing it. And when I went, the convention was huge, but the vendor hall since then has doubled in size. The TCG play area has doubled in size. The amount of seminars that go out into all the hotels that are around us, is crazy. All the all the restaurants that are in around it always have themes. If you go into a place like the Ram has themed beers and stuff. Places like Granite City always used to do they started doing. I think they didn't do it this year, but they had T-shirts and specials for it, and just it really takes over the whole city. I've seen it grow from being pretty big to something that is literally it's the whole city. And I don't want to sound like a Boost Mobile commercial, the whole city behind you, but it's just. It feels so different, and you said, whatever you want to do. There's been certain years where we've just picked something and just done that a bunch. Been certain years where we just wander. I have definitely tried games that I would never have tried because of it. I have met people that I would never have met otherwise. It's a blast, and it's an experience, and it's worth going to. If you're the kind of person who looks at something like San Diego Comic-Con and goes, "Oh man, I wish I could go to that," something that is surprisingly close to that, in feeling and in scope, is a lot closer than you think if you're in the Midwest. So
for sure. And I mean, my wife and I, we have friends that we've met just through Gen Con, and just randomly happen to be both Ohio residents, and that's where we see them every year. Pretty much is at Gen Con. So it's pretty crazy what you can do.
Speaking of your wife, Morgan's wife is not exactly a gamer. She hangs out with us, she embraces the culture, but she doesn't really play. But
no, she played games she'd make enemies, not friends.
But she's really she coming from people who she has found her own niche at Gen Con. She goes and does all the different craft things and just finds cool things, and I'm just and enjoys the con in a way that is totally different from a way that I would ever enjoy the con. And I think that's what's really impressive. You go to a Grand Prix, which are essentially conventions now, and it's magic. And maybe you could do cosplay, maybe you could play casual, but it's magic. Gen Con, you can literally do whatever you want. Really.
Yes. Do whatever you want.
The cosplay showing alone, I mentioned cosplay.
Yeah. It was huge this year. It felt like there were so many people in cosplay this year.
And so many good ones.
Yes.
It is really a spectacle, and it's worth your time.
Very, very much so. So
I'm trying to sell Dave at this point, but I think I've got him hooked. So.
You didn't have to sell me. I already wanted to go. So.
Yeah, it's
but I appreciate it.
It's great, and I think next year maybe we'll take the route where we step away a little bit, depending on what the limited set is. This because you could do unlimited 2-headed giant drafts, and they're amazing. But
king of the formats, just so you know.
Maybe you step away, and I really want to do more tabletop RPG stuff, but I sometimes I just get so nervous. I just get so scared about meeting and talking to strangers. But I think I'm gonna once I build up some more repertoire with tabletop RPGs, I think next year is when we dive in and try to do that a lot. But Gen Con's a little bit earlier next year. It's the 2nd through the 5th of August, so definitely don't sleep on it. It's less than a year away already, and if you're curious about it and are maybe farther out than the Midwest, maybe you're on the the East Coast or the West Coast, make the trip. It's worth it. It's worth your money, and it's worth your time. In honesty, comparatively, going to a GP in the value, so a 4-day pass to Gen Con is $90. Was $90 this year. A GP is $75 consistently. You're getting more bang for your buck from going to Gen Con.
Having just gone back and everything I've said recently, and just signed up for the GP that's this weekend in the same exact place that I was for Gen Con, the value is in Gen Con, not the GP.
Correct. So, yeah, it's a pivotal thing. My wife and I always make time for it because it's that important. And it's really something that we look forward to every single year. So, it's great, and I can't say more positive things about it. It's actually impossible. So, that's pretty much everything we have for the community segment. Before we jump into GP Denver, I do want to give a shout out to Comic Town. They're actually holding their grand opening Saturday, August 26th. So if you haven't had a chance to stop by the shop, they're going to be having a whole bunch of stuff going on, some sweet sales, some people that, make comics and stuff like that, artists, what have you. Like, they're gonna really, blow the doors off of the new place. And if you haven't been, definitely check it out. For more information on the grand opening, please visit them. And on Facebook, do a quick search for Comic Town for them, and then specifically for the Magic stuff, you can go to Comic Town Gaming Center. But either way, you'll get links to the event by which page you look at, and it's really going to be something special. So hope you make it out to check out their new digs if you haven't already yet. All right, competitive. We only have one thing to talk about. It's really that Mike and his wife actually crushed a Two-Headed Giant draft event. That's the only competitive thing we have to talk about. Crushed it, won a box.
I heard something double Torment of Hailfire.
So yeah, we open the pack. If you don't know Two-Headed Giant Draft, you have 6 packs and you draft 2 cards at a time out of each pack. It's great.
Yeah, it's perfect.
And we definitely opened a pack and had Torment of Hailfire and some other rare that we took. We was like, oh, or just another uncommon we took. I was like, okay, cool. And then got past double 4/4 blue flyer, the Sphinx, which is close to a rare. Our second pack we took Banewhip Punisher and Sand Strangler. It was just oh, okay. And the last pack of Hour Devastation, open it up, foil, Torment of Hailfire, and I was like, oh. And we played round 1 and we cast it on turns 5 and 6 consecutively, and our opponents were very upset. Easy game.
Yeah, the Torment of Hailfire is really good in Two-Headed Giant.
Yeah, it says each opponent?
Each opponent, very important. You have 2 opponents in Two-Headed Giant, so you get to double your pleasures, double your fun with Torment of Hailfire. And Two-Headed Giant rules.
Yeah, is when we cast the second one, the guy literally just kind of threw up his hands. I was like, I know this isn't fun. I mean, for me, it's great.
It's perfect for yeah. and yeah, there's no discussion of a split for the second round. You guys just crushed them.
No, we just did it. We just did the thing.
Oh yeah, no, actually, there was a GP. Sorry, it was a GP Denver. It was standard.
I was enjoying being flattered, but whatever.
No, I wanted to give you a shout out. You really did a good job.
Can we talk about how I played Delver again at Monday Night Modern?
Oh yeah,
we gotta throw that in there.
You're back on it. You're back on that train.
Nah, not fully on the train. Just we just caught up.
Just
had a cup of coffee.
Have a nice little date night.
Yeah.
No, I understand.
Not even a date. It was
not even a date.
It was just a hey, it's good to see you.
It's just I haven't seen you since high school.
Hey, you're looking good. Hey. But yeah.
Well,
one 4 and 2.
Congratulations on your 4 and 2 at your 6th round evening Monday night modern event.
Yeah. That's it. That's all I'm gonna say.
All right. Back to actual Magic tournaments. GP Denver was won by none other than Bradley Nelson.
I hear he's pretty good at Standard.
I hear he figures things out about that Standard there. And he played Temur Energy, a deck many have claimed to be defunct, dead even. Well, not only did he play it, 2 other people played it and got 2nd and 3rd, playing the exact 75. Yeah. And that was BBD and Corey Baumeister, respectively.
Right. So you have we saw Brad Nelson and Corey also top 8 GP Minneapolis 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
With different decks.
Yep.
They were able to run it back, and then they brought BBD along
for the ride. And it's good for BBD. I feel like he's having he's had a run of sort of bad luck. And I'm glad to see him sort of stabilize here. I guess Baumeister got 4th, not 3rd. Excuse me. Pardon me.
Top 4, yeah.
Top 4, yeah.
Basically, the best possible result you could do. If you have 3 guys playing the same 75.
Yeah, it's pretty much.
1st, 2nd, and then top 4, but 3rd or 4th, whatever.
It's pretty crazy. But yeah, this Temur Energy list, when we take a look at it, it's a little bit lower to the ground. Like we were talking about that before we podcast tonight. We don't see any other Deep Fiends or anything like that. You know, we have instead we have like Long Tusk Cub showing up here. But this is, you know, nothing too wild, nothing too crazy. I mean, in all honesty, you know, when you look at this deck, there is very few things, if anything, really rotating. Like you have lands, your mana base is going to get somewhat worse.
A little bit,
but not necessarily a whole lot.
Well, I mean, like you have like the one Game Trail and the one Lumbering Falls. I think that's it.
Yeah, Lumbering Falls is like the only thing that, you know, won't be there.
I mean, you're losing trackers and Chandras out of the board.
That's
like, and Radiant Flames becomes
Flame
like,
Caller and Radiant Flames.
Yeah.
So like you there are some holes that would need to be filled, but I mean, like a lot of the stuff in this deck, a lot of the shell just continues to exist, which is, you know, pretty tempting when you're looking for a deck to maybe put some money into that might still be okay post rotation. So
yeah, I mean,
it's still a crapshoot. Like, you know, it's not going to be like a guaranteed hit, but I mean, this deck is still good.
Yeah, I mean, we've said this before. I mean, just like the energy package is just really powerful.
Just that shell is pretty consistent and you know, can do work.
And the thing about it is, this deck is very much like a Jund style deck where it's very customizable. So like depending on what you're expecting to see, you can kind of change it in certain ways to be better in certain matchups. And I think it has a very flexible sideboard as well. So I mean, I think it's going to be a player for its entirety, you know, while it's in standard. So yeah, I mean, like if you're looking to invest in a deck, this isn't a bad place.
Yeah, I think Dave and I were both pretty happy to be like, oh, cool, we own this deck.
Yeah, I have it as well. Yeah,
we both played at the Star City Invitational at the end of June.
Right. Yeah.
It's like 2 months ago, and at that time it was like we thought it was the best deck. I think that turned out to not be the case. It was still a fine choice.
Yeah.
But like you see, the format has come full circle since then, where it's like this deck fell out of favor. We saw, you know, Mono Red and Zombies be, you know, the two top decks, I think, and now I don't know if I would say this is like the absolute best deck. It definitely had the best performance, I guess, on the weekend, but it was also just 3 really good players as well. But I mean, honestly, I think the key things, if we're gonna like look at the exact list, I think the main deck Sky Sovereigns were a big deal.
I think 4 Whirler Virtuosos are a big deal.
Yeah, 4 Whirler Virtuoso is a little bit of a... It's a little out there. We don't always see that. I know personally I'm not a huge proponent of it, but because like drawing more than one is kind of not the best.
So
but like if you want to see it every game, then
it's not just that. Like I think the way this deck is set up with both having 4 Long Tusk Cub and also 4 Bristling Hydra, like
you just want to get aggressive.
Like, well, that's just that. Like the worst thing in the world you're doing if you draw an extra one is getting 3 energy.
Yeah,
and like that actively is fine. So
I think it is also important, I guess, like guaranteeing that you have 3 energy just sitting there when you play your Bristling Hydra, and that so they can't like respond to the trigger by killing it. Is important as well.
And having like obviously the aggressive decks of, you know, the red deck now exists that didn't exist when we played this deck before. But one of the things I was saying to you was like having like for like vehicles having a blocker for Heart of Kiran. Well, in this case, in like when you have a deck that has a ton of like on-card crashers and, you know, Earthshaker Kenras, making sure your 3-drop like comes with an extra body if you need it to, like stops you from just getting like what do I want to say here? Like I was. Tremored. Thank you. Tremored Out is like the card in my head that I couldn't think of. So, and that alone I think is pretty important based on how the format looks right now. So, and the red deck doesn't actually deal with 1/1 flyers very well when you stabilize. So,
but anyway, yeah, it's a great call for this weekend. Obviously, you can't really do any better than what they did, and I mean, I don't. It should be said that I mean this is definitely one of the most dominant performances we've seen in a high level event. I mean, not just in GPs, but I think like the only thing you can look at that maybe compares to it is there was a Pro Tour where Team Your Move Games finished, I think 1-2-3 with a Reanimator deck back. I don't even know when it was. It was in the 90s probably.
Well, you know, I mean, you're right. Yeah,
early 2000s. but yeah, I mean, just a completely dominant performance. And
well, Morgan mentioned like the BBD needing a good finish. The top 5 moments actually discussed this, like how like both like him and like Brad, like it was like Nelson said he did not know like what he was going to play. He was already done with this, and like obviously BBD, and like so I guess like BBD was like, here's what I'm working with. They said, oh, okay, let's do this, and like they neither of them were going to go, and then like they convinced each other like, let's go and do this. So like they went from just being like, oh shucks, to oh, okay, cool. So
Yeah, I think we saw it was a couple of weeks ago. Maybe it was the last Star City where BBD top aided with one of the classics, whether the standard classic.
that was
with
the
a team
Invitational.
Was that the Invitational?
Oh no, that would have been with Zombies. I don't remember
I
that.
think it was one of the modern opens that happened the last time.
It could have been.
Anyway, yeah, he top aided or top forward with a Teamer Energy list. I thought it was kind of interesting at the time because the deck had kind of fallen out of favor, but obviously there's something there. I think the other deck we should talk about is this new version of Godfarrow's Gift.
Is it the Jeskai?
Yeah, it's labeled as Jeskai. It's really blue-red. The white in the lists are for the Angel of Inventions and Cataclysmic Gyrohulks, which technically can be cast, but they're not really.
It's not
they're
really
to be
what you're
hard
going
cast.
for.
Yeah. They're not running a bunch of white sources in there. There are some white sources. There's 4 Inspiring Vantage and 4 Aether Hub, so it's possible to hardcast them, but it's not reliable. But yeah, this is a list. So we've seen, prior to the Pro Tour, we saw these blue-white lists pop up that had like refurbish and stuff like that as a way to kind
Yeah,
of,
like the one in what, ninth?
yeah, there was a 9th place list that had that. But these blue-red lists are more reliant on Gate to the Afterlife. So it's just playing a more kind of grindy game where it's just like, okay, I'm going to get six creatures in my yard and do a Gate to the Afterlife. It's playing 4 Trophy Mage as a way to search up your Gate to the Afterlife. So that's pretty interesting. Yeah, I don't know. It just has it has ways to mill with the Minister of Inquiries, which you saw in the blue-white version as well.
Yes.
And the Ipnu Rivulet. But yeah, did fairly well. I mean, I know there was it Corey Burkhart, Mike Segrist, and Owen Turnwell top 16'd with this, and I know Andrew Beckstrom also finished on the top 32.
I mean, obviously the Teamer Energy lists are getting the hype for doing so well, but like for taking that archetype and like doing this to it, that's pretty solid for all those players too, to just sort of clump up in the top 16.
Yeah, and it was on camera a bunch, so that's something else that's out there.
We also have Edwin Eng playing an actual white-blue Godfarer's Gift deck, and he's playing Gluttonous Crane to help find those powerful artifacts. And he's playing Refurbish, and has some nifty things he can also get with Walking Ballistas being another thing he can grab with a Gluttonous Crane, which is pretty interesting.
He's got some interesting sideboard cards too. You got Thought Knot Seers on the board. Mm-hmm. It's kind of spicy.
Yep. You have plenty of color sources to cast that that little guy.
Came prepared for the mirror as well, I guess.
He also is playing Hostile Desert as well in his main. So the little 3/4 man lane that could.
That card's pretty good, especially when you're just like dumping cards in your yard. So I was surprised when I started seeing that online, and I quickly was like, no, this is good, because as long as you have a steady stream for it, 2 mana to make a 3/4 man land is pretty good. Compared to even the ones we have in standard right now, it's the best rate for sure.
And honestly, even if it's not good, like if you don't have lands, you can just sacrifice it to the Ipnu Rivulet to mill yourself or whatever, Let's see here. I think there were a lot more Teamer Energy lists than I realized. We obviously had the 3 in the top 8, but
the deck hasn't been like, it isn't dead. It wasn't dead.
No, it definitely fell off from being the de facto best.
For sure it did.
I know Michael Jacob lost in the last round playing for top 8. He had an interesting list that was splashing black for the Scarab God. And unfortunately for him, that was the only mirror match that he lost. He lost to Brad Nelson in the last round. It was the only mirror match that he lost the whole weekend. He was something like 5-0 going into that match. But pretty good weekend for him. We also had 3 red decks on the top 8. I think one thing I noticed was that some of the red decks are going to more. There was one that was doing pretty well that had 4 mana Chandras and like just went like a lot bigger than what we've used to seeing. So they're kind of trimming on the 1-drops and kind of going bigger on like main deck Glorybringers and stuff like that. So that's kind of one way you could go with that list.
It's interesting.
But yeah, I mean, you still had a decent amount of red and zombies in the top 32 here.
Yeah, I think at this point, like, it's cool to see like some of the Godfarrow's gift stuff, but I don't even know how many major standard tournaments we have now.
Yeah.
We've got about a month until we got full rotation. So I'm really glad that they were able to, like, with the bannings, like, give standard like this summer of life. Like, all of us here were pretty excited to get to play it again a little bit. You know, like, I went to the Invitational instead of being miserable, like having fun with it, seeing a couple new archetypes pop up. Like, I'm, again, super ready for rotation. I'm probably not going to touch a standard deck now until, like, I've really had fun playing the Sphinx deck on Moto, but, like, other than that, like, I probably won't touch standard until rotation, and that's fine. But I'm really excited for this rotation.
But I did watch some coverage here, and I'm with you. I'm probably not going to play standard.
Yeah.
But the coverage was pretty good. I mean,
I did not watch any coverage. Gen Con sort of dictated that
yeah,
wasn't going to
yeah.
happen.
You guys were busy, but I was at home. But
Do you want a hug? I'll give you a hug. I'll give it to you if you need it. Like,
no, it's fine.
all right, good, making sure.
The only match that I watched was Patrick Chapin versus JC Tao.
Oh, the JC Tao had the what was it? What's that card? The creature. I can't think of it now.
This is quality. What
I
deck
know-
was he playing?
I know Patrick
Playing
Chapin was.
ramp, and he was,
He's playing red green ramp.
yeah, Chapin was playing.
No, it was-
So, like, what was big creature, small creature?
It was the 4/6 that adds mana.
Oh,
Your second mana.
Neheb.
Yeah, Neheb,
Neheb.
the Eternal.
Yeah.
Oh, he just blew him out with that card.
Oh,
Game
yeah.
2.
I mean, 5 mana 4/6 in red is a weird body.
The
So
commentators were like kind of scratching their heads. They're like, "Really? Okay." He brought this one in for this matchup, and then he proceeded to like the turn after he cast it. He added like 3 or 4 mana second main, cast a Walking Ballista for 10 mana, cracked his land to go get an Ulamog. Next turn, cast an Ulamog off of like the mana from Neheb. It was just like absurd. Okay.
hey, hold on. I gotta look at Neheb for a second here.
Yeah.
Is Neheb just life lost from your opponent,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So God, the ballista just shoots him to get mana. Oh.
Yeah,
That's
He
cool.
did this weird thing where like the next turn he had attacked, and then he used the ballista to. So Chapin had like double blocked, right? And he used the ballista to kill one of the blockers, and then like still like in the end of combat, he used the last counter on the ballista to hit Chapin so that he would get another mana.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome.
It was actually pretty insane.
Yeah, that's really okay. I like it. That's cool. That's cool.
I didn't really expect to see that card like make a big splash in standard, and maybe it won't. But in that one match, it was pretty sweet.
so you know that like Chapin lost to that card, and Mike Flores was just laughing, like because you know that I haven't even listened to it, but I know that in some episode of Top Level, Mike Flores was like, actually, I think this card's really good, and Chapin's like, yeah, in what world? And then like Mike Flores just cackling, just like.
But anyway, yeah, standard was pretty fun to watch. Is what I was.
I mean, it looks fun and it looks, somewhat diverse. Still, we aren't just like living in a mono red summer or anything like that. It is still changing. We still see decks kind of rise and fall, which is nice.
Yeah.
And plenty of options to really like go out there and play. We already noted that there really aren't going to be that many, high level, tournaments as far as standards concerned. Mm-hmm. What is nationals?
U.S. Nationals is in October.
Yeah, it's October.
Yeah. So it'll be already rotated.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. This is we're about done.
Though
All right, I just want to make sure we're covering our bases.
there are some nationals that start in 2 weeks, I think.
Gotcha.
Not the United States though.
Yeah, there's a couple of weekends so it's coming up.
Right. Some other decks that were not pictured or not listed in the top 32 or that they had on camera was a couple blue-white approach decks were doing pretty well on day 1. Kind of fell off on day 2. And then some blue-red controls. I guess the matchup against mono-red is pretty unwinnable. So
It can be.
So I know Tomaru Saito played that, and he said he was like X and O against non-mono red, O and X against mono red. Like, so, you know.
But anything else from Denver that we really want to highlight, talk about, or anything like that? Nah.
Nah.
All right, fair enough. Well, let's make it short and sweet for this week's episode. Let's head to the wrap up. So we have GP Indianapolis, as we've already talked about. Mike and I will be there, ready to represent at your end step. I'm just going for side events. I don't really want to play the main event because I always suck at sealed. So
I'm only playing this because I love this. Like, I really enjoy
the format's really good.
So otherwise, I certainly wouldn't enjoy giving my money to this company.
I much prefer drafting over sealed.
You just got a day 2, man.
Yeah, that's the hard part.
Get the value drafts.
Every sealed tournament I've ever played in, I've never won a single match. So I just can't do it.
You got to play to get better, man.
Nope, just can't do it.
Just watch the Michael Jacobs streams. He's the self-proclaimed.
I wouldn't suggest watching him.
He's a self-proclaimed best sealed player. So there you go.
I refuse. So I'm gonna go. Like they have like a modern tournament. I think I want to play in. So
are you gonna finally do it? Is this we're gonna go? We're gonna stay overnight. Are you gonna grind for your big card?
Maybe. We'll try. It depends.
We talked about him. He wants to grind for a big card. He wants to. So
it depends on what big cards they have there and what they're like asking for them.
Yeah. What you have to sort of devise what your best route to get it.
Exactly.
So. But I think it'd be cool to try and go for it.
Because they have some big ticket like payout events that you can do, so maybe like that's the best route. But they're not till Sunday, so I don't know if like someone's going to make enough ticks to get it. It's hard. You really have to wait and see what they have when you get there, and then go from there.
Sure.
You definitely have the space to like display the big card with like your man cave basement thing that you got going on. So
that's the plan. I did pick up a set of the SDCC 2017 Planeswalkers that come with that poster. So I am gonna frame that and hang that up because that art's really good. It's wife approved already, so
yeah, he's gonna hang it at my house. That's really
good
cool.
To go. It's actually not true. That's a lie.
You checked with Mike's wife. That's so
nice.
That's
really
so
cool.
nice. That's very considerate.
And then I have these Planeswalker cards. I don't know what to do with. They're pretty cool, but
what's the foiling like on them?
It's really good.
Are they like the actual good foiling or just the crappy?
It's still pretty similar to From the Vault, but they still look good. It's not your traditional foiling.
Okay,
but they still look pretty good. The one thing when I open that up, I just look at like the 5-mana Jace, and I go, why are you here, Jace? I know you have to be here, like you're part of the Gatewatch, but you're rotating soon, and it's just abysmal. But all the other ones are sticking around for a bit, so I guess I'm okay with that. But they're pretty cool. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with them. I might just sit on them for a while. If I ever need like a 4th Chandra, I guess I have one, or like another Nissa or a random Liliana for some reason. I guess I got them. So, but yeah, I'm pretty excited about hanging up that poster. And then there's actually going to be another limited tournament. It's going to be GP Mets. So definitely plenty of limited going on. I don't know if there's any coverage or anything like that, but there should be text coverage at the very least for the tournament. So if you want to,
nobody watches limited coverage.
If you want to read about some limited tournaments, you certainly can. I'm fairly certain. But that's pretty much it for us this week. We do thank you for downloading the show. If you did get us through iTunes, please feel free to leave us a review. Really helps with our visibility and helps get new listeners to the show. If you downloaded us from MTGcast, check out some of the other shows that are on there. If you want to reach out to us, we do have a Twitter. It's Your End Step, and when you add us, it's at Your End Step. We also have a Facebook page. If you do a quick search for Facebook, if you do a quick search for Facebook, and then go to Facebook, and then log into Facebook, and then do a search for At Your End Step, we pop up. We also want to give a shout out to our sponsors, Comic Town, which we talked about, and BCW Supplies. We had a chance to use the new sleeves that they have, and they are amazing. You definitely need to give them a shot and try them out. We obviously are sponsored by them, but these sleeves are great. They are amazing. So they're the Elite Deck Guards, and if you haven't had a chance to try them out, if you're doing like a draft or if you need to resleeve a deck for FNM this week, buy them if you have access to them. They are a premium sleeve. You know, they are similar to, you know, your Dragon Shield sleeve. That as far as like stress testing and how long they're going to last you, but they're only, you know, they're a fraction of the price. I know that recently, like KMC was bought, and like their you know formula changed. So I know a lot of people have been kind of sad and needing a new sleeve to pick up and try. And if you want to try something new, give the Elite deck guards a shot, because they are amazing. And if you want to learn more about them, you can go to bcwsupplies.com or check out BCW Supplies on Facebook. And again, Comic Town is going to be happening. They're going to be having their grand opening. So find out more about that on Facebook as well. And if you do want to reach out to us via email, you can do so via @yourinstep@gmail.com. And we also have a Patreon. So if you want to help, you know, give money to the show, help us, you know, upgrade our recording equipment, help us do more stuff for the show, please feel free to check that out. It's just patreon.com/@yourinstep. That's going to be everything for us this week. We thank you so much for listening, and you have a great one. Bye.